Morning, everyone. Good morning. Hope you guys are doing well. Today is Tuesday, February the 24th. Nice solid day towards the downside yesterday in the markets, of course, with the new potential Trump tariffs. Coming to this morning, we had some more news. Specifically, the major news this morning here is with Meta along with AMD. So we'll kind of touch up on this a little bit later. Before we do that, what's up, everyone? Good morning. Hope you guys are doing well. Good morning, B Roots. Good morning, Victor. Good morning, Martin. Big up, Cody, Andreas, Lamech, Cosmic. Good morning, Monty, Martin, Free, Mark, Deuce, I am. What's up, everyone? Marcus, Robert. What's up? What's up, Carlos? What's up, Senna? Yeah, what's up, everyone? Hope you guys are doing well. Let's pull up the economic calendar before we get started and before we head into the charts, at least for today. We have a little bit more red folder news events. The main thing here is we actually do have consumer confidence. This one, every once in a while, it is an red folder news event. So we'll keep an eye on consumer confidence. This is going to be at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So this is something to keep an eye out for. And then we do have Trump speaking much later into the day. The main thing, of course, is going to be tomorrow with NVIDIA earnings. So we'll see how that shapes up the overall markets. Currently, NVIDIA is down a little bit here in the overnight session. So we'll talk about this. And then, of course, unemployment on Thursday at 8:30, and then core PPI that is going to be on Friday at 8:30 as well. So as you can see, the main thing, as I mentioned today, at least consumer confidence at 10 a.m. And then we have Trump speaking later into the session. Plus, we have a bunch of news currently that we have just with the overall market as well. Okay, let's hop straight into the charts. Let's hop onto the ES along with the rest of the major indices. What's up, everyone? Good morning. Let me just grab some water here. Good morning. What's up? What's up? Okay, so yeah, coming into yesterday, as you can see, the overall markets end up pushing up in towards our key level of resistance. Nice pop and fade right off our previous day highs, and then we end up gravitating straight down in towards our previous day lows that we ended up creating. So yesterday, one of the scenarios, potential rejections here off our previous day highs, end up sellers stepping in and continuing all the way down in towards our previous day lows. So as you can see here for the ES coming into market open here today, what we're going to have marked out is our Friday's lows of last week. And then we can also have our previous day lows marked out today. So we have a couple more levels to pay attention to in specific previous day lows and our Friday's lows. So if we do want to see some upside here in the overall markets, really my key level here is going to be our 68.60 here on the ES. If we can reclaim back above, we could be looking for a continuation towards the upside. Or now we need to see it above our pre-market highs, which is going to be above this 68.70. So we have two key levels coming to market open here for the ES, right? The reclaim back above this 68.60, the break above our pre-market highs for continuation, or we can be looking for the bounce play off our previous day lows for a continuation towards the upside. So this is what we have for the ES coming in to market open here today. Really three scenarios. All these long scenarios I don't like as much just because the overall market staying heavy so far, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. I don't expect too much of big momentum moves towards the upside. So the bounce play here off our previous day lows, I would expect it to have the best potential trading opportunity if we're going to have any sort of mean reversion towards the upside. If we're going on to the short side, key levels that we have coming to today, it's going to be fairly clear, right? Yesterday, the levels were fairly clear off that previous day highs along with that previous day lows. Today, we have clear levels here as well, which is going to be that previous day lows. You could be looking for the pop and fade off your 68.60s for continuation lower, or now it's going to be underneath our previous day lows, in this case, which is our 68.30s, our 68.36 for this push down in towards our 6,800. So this is what we have for the ES coming into market open here today. Now let's head on to the SPY chart. As for the SPY chart, similar thesis here. Nice rejections yesterday right off our previous day highs, and that pushed down in towards our Friday's lows, of course. Now the key level that we're going to have marked out, 680.50, along with our 683. So if we want to see some downside coming into market open, rejection here off our 683 for this continuation towards the downside, or now shorts are in play here underneath that previous day lows. 680.50 for a continuation towards the downside. So if we do want to see continued move towards the downside here today, right, we can keep an eye on that 683 pop and fade right off the bat, or we can be waiting for that break underneath that previous day lows for a continuation lower. As for any sort of upside, key level that we do have marked out here is going to be that 683. So the reclaim back above, as I mentioned, I'm not as interested in this scenario for a push back higher. You have a couple other scenarios here as well. As I mentioned, break above your pre-market highs. I like this one a little bit better. Or now it's going to be the bounce play off our 680.50, which is that previous day lows for continuation. So these are the few scenarios that I have for upside here on the ES and SPY. As I mentioned, I'm not as interested unless we have really strong buyers step in right off the bat, or you're just looking for some sort of mean reversion, which a lot of the market has been just kind of ranging and bouncing and rejecting off key levels. So this is what we have for the SPY and ES coming into market open. Now let's go on to the NQ chart. So this is the key level that we have for the NQ. The key levels that we have marked out is going to be very similar. Previous day lows, which happens to be our Friday's lows here as well. And another level that I have marked out is just a level from last week, where as you can see, we have multiple touches. So for NQ coming to market open here today, nice kind of rejection, not quite ended up rejecting off our previous day highs yesterday. Kind of just rejected off your gap that we created with ES rejecting. This one ended up rejecting and then just pushing down in towards our previous day lows. So the key levels that we have coming to today is going to be our 24,780, along with our previous day lows, 24,860. So currently, as you can see, some buyers are stepping in here off our 24,780 in the pre-market. This is a level that we like to see NQ bounce off of, or now it's going to be above our pre-market highs for a potential push back up and towards our previous day highs. These are the two long scenarios that we have on NQ. If we do want to see some downside here, we can be looking for the break back underneath this 24,800. Or now we will be waiting for the break underneath our previous day lows for this continuation down in towards that higher time frame key level 24,580. So these are the two scenarios that we have on the NQ coming into market open here. As for the QQQ, very similar thesis. Levels that we had just have marked out on the Qs is our 602 along with our 599.50. These are the key levels that we have on the Qs coming to market open. If we do want to see some upside, as I mentioned, right, bounce play here off our 602 for continuation higher, or now it's going to be the break above our pre-market highs for a potential push up and towards our previous day highs. Two scenarios here. If we want to see some downside, break underneath the 602 rejection, or now, as I mentioned, underneath our previous day lows, 599 for this continuation here as well. So these are the scenarios that I have for the major indices coming into market open here now. I'm going to go on to the SMH. I'm going to go on to the IWM. SMH is currently making a brand new high as we speak. And then we'll head on to some tech names. We'll go over NVIDIA and, we'll go over AMD, since that one is the one that had some news here in the pre-market. If you guys do have any charts or any tickers, you guys can now drop them in the chat. If you guys are enjoying this so far, I appreciate if you guys drop a like. If you guys haven't joined the free daily watch list, that of course is in the description below as well. How do I pick and decide which stock? That's just based off pre-market action. If there's any sort of news, if there's any sort of higher time frame thesis. So we have a couple main watches coming into market open. Usually we'll try and narrow it down to anywhere between 2 to 3 top watches. And then based off the 2 to 3 top watches, right, then intraday, We'll just wait for confirmation, which will be any sort of intraday relative strength or weakness, or the reaction that we have off key levels. And based off the reaction that we have off the key levels that we draw in the pre-market, then we'll look to trade, right, those 2 to 3 top watches. Let's see. When you mark out the daily support is the past 20 to 40 sessions. The 20 to 40 sessions is a good indication of the overall trend. So, right, the 20 to 40 sessions doesn't have to be where you're drawing the key levels of support and resistance. 20 to 40 sessions just gives you a good indication of the overall trend of the market. So if you're looking at the Qs, the past 20 to 40 sessions, I would say we're kind of consolidating. I would say consolidation a little bit more towards the downside, just based off of the key levels that we have marked out. If we're looking at the SPY, similar thesis, right? Past 20 to 40 sessions, a little bit more consolidation. So it's been a little bit trickier to trade. If you're looking at the SMH, right, past 20 to 40 sessions, right, consolidation, but leaning a little bit more towards the upside. So 20 to 40 sessions, as I mentioned, just gives you a good indication of what to look for in the trend. All right, so for the SMH, as you can see right here, we're basically at the top of the range, which is our all-time highs. As you can see, multiple touches off this general area. What we like to see coming into today here is the reaction that we have off our all-time highs. So really, let me actually just refine these levels really quick. Key level that we have marked out, I'm just gonna mark out that previous day highs, just our last week's highs. We can just draw it up into this wick. So for the SMH coming into today here, as you can see, gapping up now, of course, with AMD here in the pre-market session. Key level that we're just going to have marked out is our 417. So you can see multiple touches here, 417 higher time frame key level. If we can maintain above 417, we could be looking for this continued push, pre-market highs. And of course, now it's going to be our all-time highs. So we can mark this out, which is our 420.56. So that's going to be the key level here on the SMH. If we reject off this level, break back underneath our previous day highs, we can see this potential mean reversion back towards the downside. So this is what we have for the SMH coming into market open here. As for the IWM, key levels that we have marked out, just kind of the range, not too much is going on, just kind of ranging from the top of the range, gravitating down in towards the bottom of the range. And you can see some buyers kind of stepping in right off that 259. So that's what we have for the IWM, at least for the key levels and the scenarios. Bounce play here for this mean reversion back towards the upside. If we break underneath that 259 hold, then that's when we can see a potential downtrend here on the IWM to target that 256. All right, now I'm going to head on to some of the tech names that we do have coming into today. As I mentioned, if you guys do have any charts or any tickers, you guys can now drop them in the chat. If you guys are enjoying this so far, I appreciate if you guys drop a like. If you guys haven't joined the free daily watch list, that is in the description below as well. Does a reclaim need a retest, or is it like a dip and rip? It does not need a retest. A reclaim is a reclaim back above a key level. You can wait for the retest, but often the retest doesn't always set up. So that's why the reclaim entry model is going to be the best, because it doesn't always offer that retest. Usually the best reclaim setups usually don't end up coming back to retest key levels. Could you explain why you use the regular trading hours for previous day lows instead of the daily candle? The daily, it's the exact same thing. If you're using the regular trading hours, right, it's going to be the exact same thing on the daily candle as it is. If you're especially trading something that is, right, stocks that it's open from 9:30 to 4 p.m. If you're trading futures, it's going to be a little bit different, but you can just use the full candle if you're trading futures. All right, let's go on to Tesla. So right here, as you can see, Tesla ended up pushing nicely towards the downside yesterday. Key levels that we kind of have marked out, previous day lows, we kind of drew out this mini potential bear flag forming here as well. The key was the previous day low. Once we broke underneath that previous day low, basically confirmed it for a move towards the downside. So Tesla, nice push towards the downside, with the markets rejecting yesterday as well. Now the key levels that we're going to have marked out on Tesla is just going to be that last week's lows. And we could just now mark out our previous day, low that we created from earlier in February. So for Tesla coming into today, as you can see, broke underneath our previous day lows, also our Thursday's lows, nice rejection for continuation lower. Now the key level that we have marked out is our 401. So coming into market open here, as long as we maintain underneath this key level, we can expect Tesla to gravitate lower. So 401 is key. If we do want to continue lower, we need to see that pop and fade off our 401 for a push down in towards our previous day lows. So this is really the only scenario that I have for Tesla. Another possible scenario underneath pre-market lows for a push towards the downside. We could also be potentially looking for that. So two scenarios here for Tesla coming to market open. Only scenario that I'm interested in upside, which I'm not as interested in Tesla, but we can be looking for the reclaim, which would be the reclaim back above our 401. This would be the reclaim for, a minimum that we need to see for a reclaim for a push back up and towards 405. So this is what we have for Tesla coming into market open here. As for NVIDIA, one of the main ones, this one rejecting once again off our key level. This level has been very tough. I don't expect it to break above this level until earnings, of course. We've rejected and bounced off this level multiple times. So key level towards the downside, key level towards the upside. You can see multiple touches here on NVIDIA. We about rejected from this level, I think about 7 times now. It's kind of funny, but basically we rejected from this level a bunch of times here on NVIDIA. We're going to need to see the break above, but now it's only going to occur with earnings. If we can get that break above, we can now see that trend back towards the upside, just because we've been consolidating for a while here, right? Once we get that break, potentially we can see that move. This is only going to happen. We'll see what happens. No reason to try and predict what's going to happen here with NVIDIA, just because it does have earnings tomorrow. So we'll just wait for that. At least for today, you're going to be hands off on NVIDIA with earnings tomorrow. So at least if you're going to trade this, right, key level, just keep an eye out on your 190, right? Potential bounce play here off 190, break underneath, you can see this mean reversion. All right, let's go on to AMD. So this is the main one here in the pre-market, of course. We end up having some news with Meta. So nice, really bounced exactly where it had to, which was off a key level support. If you're looking at this on the daily chart, basically your last line of defense here for AMD, which happens to be our 195. You can see touch here, right? Multiple bounces here off our 195. Now we're just right back up and towards our 220. So for AMD, currently it's rejecting our 220, but there's really two scenarios based off the daily chart. If we reject off our 220, we can come right back towards the downside. If we break above our 220, then we can see this push back up and towards our 240. So let's go back onto the lower time frames. If you look at this on the hourly chart, multiple rejections a few weeks ago. And then as you can see, multiple rejections off the low of the range. And now you can see we're just back up and towards the top of the range. So for AMD coming into today, the key levels that we're going to have marked out is going to be our 218. So that's going to be key here. If we can reclaim back, the only long scenario that we have for AMD is going to be the reclaim, either the push right off the bat, reclaim back above that 218, and we could be looking for potential longs right off the bat. Or now we'd be waiting for some sort of consolidation, reclaim later into the session, but the level is still going to be the same. 218, reclaim at a minimum for longs. Anything before that, we want to be a little bit more hands off, just because, right, we don't want to long into a key level of resistance. We want to wait for the reclaim, hold above that 218 for continuation higher. So really, these are the only two long scenarios that I have for AMD. I'd much rather wait for the reclaim later into the day, just because the IV is going to be a little bit elevated right off the start. So we want to wait for a consolidation, either a pullback, and then the reclaim back above 218 later into the day. What you do have to be cautious of here is very much a potential pop and fade. And we just kind of consolidate. So this could very much well happen today. Rejection off that 218. And we end up just consolidating in between, of course, this high and low, which is very likely today, where we just have some sort of consolidation. I wouldn't be surprised if today consolidates, and then maybe tomorrow we can have some sort of day two move for a continuation higher. But 218, where did I get it? It's just your old high. As you can see, one touch here, multiple touches. This is also your daily gap high as well, earnings high, right? Touch here, touch here, touch here, 5 touches. Very key level here for AMD, 218. So that's going to be the key level coming into market open. Let's go into Apple, Nvidia. So yeah, that's why I mentioned it most likely it's going to have some sort of bullish news catalyst like an earnings for it to break this 194. As for Apple, key level that we have marked out is going to be that that 266. So coming into market open here, currently nice kind of bounce yesterday. One of the names that were only green compared to the Qs. So the key levels that we have marked out is our 266. So as I mentioned, one of the only names that was bullish or was green on the day yesterday. So for Apple coming into today, key level is going to be that 266. If you want to maintain a bullish stance, hold above our 266 is going to be key for this continuation towards the upside. Another possible scenario here now is going to be longs above our previous day highs for continuation higher here as well. So this is what we have for Apple coming into market open here. Keep an eye on the 266. If we break underneath, then of course we can see a mean reversion back down in towards our previous day lows. All right, let's go on to Google. I end up liking Google yesterday above our 316. Ultimately, it ended up rejecting right off the bat, got back underneath that 316, and this level actually ended up using it as a retest towards the downside. So for Google, this one rejecting off actually a very key spot here, which is at 316. Moving forward for longs, we need longs low risk off that 308, or now it's going to be back above that 316 for continuation towards the upside. Besides that, be a little bit more cautious on Google now, as I mentioned, since we rejected yesterday. As for shorts, I'm not that interested in shorts just because we're kind of in between the pop and fade level, which would be that 316, or now shorts would be underneath that 308, which doesn't really make sense for today. So be a little bit more cautious on Google downside. And then, of course, upside, you need that low risk off that 308. So not too much to talk about here on Google. As for Microsoft, this one finally dropped and broke underneath our key levels, which happens to be our 396. Another continued push towards the downside here on Microsoft. Just no buyer stepping in whatsoever. Every pop ever since earnings or even before earnings just pop towards the downside. And I can see we finally broke underneath a key level of support, which was our 390. So as you can see here for Microsoft, key levels that we have marked out is our 392, touch here, and then right that kind of bear flag maintained underneath that 404, and we end up having a nice drop lower. So for Microsoft here now, the key levels that you're going to have coming into today, number one, you can mark out that previous day lows, drag it up. And another level we can mark out is going to be this up close candle, which is that 388. So key level here, 388. If you want to see some downside, pop and fade off that 388, or now shorts underneath that previous day lows, 383 for a continuation lower. As for Microsoft, right, the only long scenario, reclaim back above, buyers stepping in aggressively for a continuation higher. Microsoft finally I agree. Microsoft really the only one that ended up having a significant pullback out of the Mag 7. But of course, right, if the market overall wants to drop, right, the market's only down a couple percent off from all-time highs, right? If you're looking at SPY, down 2%, Qs down about 5%. If the Qs, let's say, drops 10 to 15%, any name that you do have that's dropped already is most likely going to potentially drop even more. So that's just the current environment that we're in, right? We have a bunch of high beta names as well, down like 40-50% off highs, but the overall market hasn't even dropped like 2% on the SPY. If the SPY has a significant pullback, then your name that you're down 40-50% is going to be down, right, 60-70%. All right, let's head on to Meta. Key levels for Meta coming into today is just going to be that earnings low that we have marked out. Key levels, let's just kind of change these up. So key levels coming into Meta are going to be our 630. But overall, Meta, of course, had some news with AMD in the pre-market. A little bit of a drop here. Now the key levels that we're going to mark out is going to be that previous day lows. Pop and fade off our 638. We can see a push down in towards now. It's going to be that 630. So that's what we have here on the Meta chart. As for Amazon, key levels that we have marked out, not too much to talk about here. Just kind of consolidating, ended up rejecting off our last week's highs. And now we're just kind of right back down in towards that 203. So you can see a little bit of buyers stepping in here off 203. If we do want to see any sort of mean reversion, right? Nice buyer stepped in yesterday. We just like to see kind of higher lows be built for continuation higher. Now we like to see at least a minimum reclaim back above our 206 if you want to see a push higher here as well. So this is what we have for Amazon coming to market open. Really not too much to talk about on most of these Mag 7 names besides really Tesla, Nvidia, AMD. As for Netflix, another drop just down in towards a key level of support. So coming into market open here now, we'll kind of go over the game plan. We'll go over some other tickers as well. But really for today, at least, the SPY and Qs opening up basically in between its previous day's range, at least on the Qs wise. So kind of similar game plan to yesterday. We're just going to keep an eye out on the first really 5 to 15 minutes for a clear direction in the market. If we have a bullish first 5-minute candle, potentially we can be looking for this mean reversion for a push back up and towards our previous day highs. And then similar thing here with SPY, right? SPY is a little bit weaker. But the key level is going to be our pre-market highs and of course this 682.50 here as well. And then for the main watches, quickly go over this. Tesla, let's keep an eye out on this 401. That's going to be the key level to mark up. My main one is going to be AMD, at least right off the bat, just because we had a very bullish news event. But it's going to have to be that reclaim, as I mentioned, back above 218 if we want to see any sort of push higher. The day one play might be a little bit more difficult, so we'll just keep an eye out on the first 15 to 30 minutes, as I mentioned. And then, of course, with NVIDIA, this one does have earnings tomorrow. Okay. Yeah, if you guys do have any charts or any tickers here now as well, I'll go over them for the next 10 to 15 minutes. And then I will go over my game plan and get ready for market open. If you guys are enjoying this so far, I appreciate if you guys drop a like. If you guys haven't joined the free daily watch list, that one, of course, is in the description below as well. Let's first start off on Palantir. How do you mark out SPY levels? If you join the free watch list below, I have like a mini free Telegram community where I posted the link. I have it pinned in the Telegram, which you can check out the video on how to draw key levels. Yeah, as well, I always start off with the watch list. So if you look on the right-hand side, I usually go over most of these tickers, all the tech names, all the major indices. So if you've missed it, you can always rewind the stream and go back to that at a certain point. Okay, let's go on to Palantir. Yeah, we'll head on to the semis here in a second, don't worry. Key levels for Palantir yesterday, we end up dropping once again. The key levels that we have marked out is our 126. So as you can see yesterday, right, we mentioned last week as well, every pop being shorted towards the downside. Key levels that we have here on Palantir is going to be that 126. If we break underneath now that 126, we can get continuation lower. But of course, we've bounced here multiple times. I'd like to see some sort of potential buyers to step in for this nice bounce off our 126 for this push down, for a push back up and towards this 130. So what we have here on Palantir is basically that 126, as I mentioned. You can even refine this a little bit more up into that 126, 127. So for Palantir coming to market open here now, if you want to see some longs, right, either the bounce play here off that 127 for that pushback towards the upside. Another possible scenario here is going to be the break above our 131 for this push higher here as well. The only way you're looking for shorts on Palantir, since the higher time frame is technically forming this basically this flat bottom, as you can see right here. Touch here, pop, pop, pop. If you do want to break underneath, you can be looking for the pop and fade off our 132, or now shorts underneath that 126 here. So based off that, as I mentioned, you could be looking for the pop and fade off our 131, or now you're going to be looking for shorts underneath that 127 previous day lows for continuation towards the downside. All right, so that's what we have on Palantir. Let's go into MU. So MU here, this one flat top forming here in the markets. Let's keep an eye on MU. SNDK actually ended up having a super solid move as well yesterday, but MU key level today 430 or 428.80s. As you can see, we have multiple touches. Offer 428. Higher lows are being built here as well. I like MU above our 428 hold for a push up and towards 440 and above. So let's keep an eye out on MU coming to market open. We have multiple touches. We can even refine the level if you like here as well. But the level that I have, we already have multiple touches. Key level is going to be that 428, right? 428. If we can break above, we can be looking for the hold above 428 for longs. Another potential scenario here above our 432 for this continuation higher here as well. So this is what we have on Micron coming into market open above our 428. Yeah, bro's just spamming. If we want to see downside, obviously I'm not as interested in downside, but potential rejection of 428, we can see a push down in towards our 422. So that's what we have for Micron today. Keep an eye out on this one with a lot of memories pushing up nicely here as well. Key level here. Let's go on to SNDK. I actually have a lot of levels drawn up, but SNDK yesterday was fairly clean. Ended up having that nice previous day high retest for that continuation towards the upside. The key levels that we have marked out, of course, is that 648. End up having that super solid previous day high retest, nice continuation towards the upside. As for SNDK coming to market open here, you want to be a little bit more cautious, since now what we have is our our all-time highs, which happens to be our 690. So for the overall markets now, let's just kind of refine some levels. The main level here is just going to be now our 670. So if we reject off this level, which it very much well can reject, we can be looking for longs, right? Longs are in play above our 670, or now we're going to be waiting for the break above 690 for a push up and towards our all-time highs. Regardless, one of the main objectives is eventually going to be that all-time highs key level, but you're going to be waiting for now some sort of pullback here on SNDK after having that nice push yesterday. So keep an eye out on your 696 along with your 660s here on SNDK. All right, now let's go into a few other tickers here. Not really too much else to talk about, right? TSM, actually another one that's pushing up nicely. If you look at this on the daily time frame, right, the main semis that have been pushing up, right, MU, SNDK along with TSM. EMD, NVIDIA have been lagging behind a little bit, but you can see TSM higher lows being built, nice push up and towards our all-time highs. So for TSM, a lot of these ones are gapping up into a key level of resistance. You just want to be a little bit cautious. Very similar to SNDK, it's going to be a tough long up into this 380 unless you can get some sort of opening drive play, right? Quick momentum move right off the bat for a push higher, right? I'll be a little bit more hands off, right? Similar setup to SNDK. Right, you don't really want to long up in towards all-time highs unless we get above your all-time highs. The best possible long would be like some sort of pullback long for a push higher, right? 372 would be your key level. SNDK, right? 660s would be your key level for a pullback long. As for everything else, yeah, really not too much else to kind of talk about here. A bunch of these other high beta names dropping. Really, the only names that are holding up are some memory names. MU, SNDK, TSM, and a bunch of the other semis. Besides that, everything else is a little bit weaker. and just kind of dropping here. So now let's go on to, yeah, we'll head on to gold and silver here really quickly, and then I'm going to get ready for market open. So for gold, key levels that we have marked out, at least yesterday, was our retest level, which ended up bouncing nicely. So you can see a previous level of resistance turn into support. Nice bounce off this level, nice kind of push higher. Now the key level that we have marked out is, of course, exactly going to be this 50. We can actually just refine this just a little bit based off the hourly chart. Key level that we have marked out is just going to be our 5140. If we can maintain this area, we can see this push back towards the upside, break back underneath, potential flip, and we can see this reversal back down in towards our 5000. As for silver, key level, as I mentioned, is just our 89. Multiple touches here so far. Longs above our 89. Rejection, we can see a push down in towards that 85. All right. Now let's go on to the QQQ. All right, so game plan coming to market open is just the reactions. Currently, we are just opening up inside the middle of the range. So be a little bit more cautious today, as I mentioned, within the first really 15 minutes. Kind of similar game plan to yesterday, unless we have a clear direction right off the bat. You just want to be a little bit more cautious. So with the Qs opening up in between its range that we had from Friday along with yesterday as well. All right, be a little bit more cautious, right? Longs are in play, either the bounce off your 602 or now above your pre-market highs, right? Shorts are in play underneath that 602 or underneath that previous day lows. For the SPY chart, right, this one's a little bit more weaker, so let's keep an eye on SPY 683. If we reject, we can see that previous day lows push. If we reclaim right off the bat, we're just going to push up in towards our pre-market highs. As for my main watches, as I talked about earlier, let's keep an eye out on Tesla off our 401. I'm short bias on Tesla as long as you can maintain underneath that 401 for continuation lower. Nvidia, I'm going to be hands off today just because it has earnings tomorrow, but key level here is our 190. As for AMD, key level here is our 218. As I mentioned, if we reject right off the bat, we could be waiting for the reclaim above our 218 for continuation. As for some other tickers, Apple, let's keep an eye out on our 266. That's going to be key coming into market open here today. We can be looking for longs above our 266.50 for continuation. And then for everything else, Meta potential bounce play. But yeah, besides that, like upside, I like potential AMD reclaim, Apple above our 266. And then really, we have a bunch of memory names. Besides that, I don't really like too many things long, right? MU is also in play for longs above our 430 today for continuation higher. TSM might be a little bit more difficult, but keep an eye out on TSM, potentially a play right off the bat for a push up in towards our all-time highs. And even, right, SNDK, right, be a little bit more cautious, but potential play right off the bat above our previous day high. So if we are looking for upside, it's going to be some of these memory names along with some semis for continuation higher. Besides that, the game plan has been fairly similar the past few weeks, right? The market has been quite volatile, but usually there's not really a clear direction. So we're just waiting for, right, the reaction that we have off our key levels that we have drawn out in the pre-market, which just happens to be our, of course, previous day highs and our previous day lows. But yeah, that is going to be it for me today. I'm going to get ready for market open here now. So if you guys did enjoy that, I appreciate if you guys drop a like and sub. If you guys haven't joined the free daily watch list, that of course is in the description below. And yeah, besides that, hope you guys have a great rest of the day, and I'll see you guys all tomorrow. All right, take care, everyone. Peace.